What up? Welcome to the official DoD Podcast.
The Guardian Radio Network presents the official Dads of Destiny podcast. The only place where dads can be 100% correct, 100% of the time. Don't tell your mother.
What up? Welcome to episode 7 of the official Dads of Destiny podcast. I'm your host, TwoLoudtx. Here with me today, my co-host and Guardian Slayer himself, Nolxero. What's up, buddy?
Not much, just recovering from a 60-hour week this week of work.
60 hours?
Yeah, it was a rough one. We're down a few people at my job.
And the less of us Titans in the room here, the little level 29 over here, Mr. POPEBEAR. What's up, buddy?
Ooh. Yeah, from where I'm sitting, you may have the level 30 armor, but you still have to catch up to me as far as KD ratio in PvP, so it's all right.
Yeah, well, I'm just too busy being a 30 and helping other people get there, so. Yeah, and did I mention I'm a level 30 without the exotic armor piece? So I have every raid piece.
You're a 30 without the exotic helm?
Right.
Yeah, He's got all 4 pieces.
So you have all 4 pieces?
Yeah, he has all 4 pieces.
All 4.
Wow, that's impressive. That's very
Good job, guys. Y'all did math.
At this point, Too Loud, let me tell you that you could burn in hell in a ball of flames, and I really wouldn't care right now, as long as I could pick up your armor
for everybody
afterwards.
out there that doesn't know, that means I have the helmet, I have the bracers, I have the chest piece, and I have the boots, all from the raid. So. Although I will say, on the bright side for you, Pope, you have a better chest piece because it gives you auto rifle ammo, and mine doesn't. Mine gives me pulse rifle ammo.
You know what? I would be lying if you were the first guy to tell me I have a better chest piece.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. And the man that puts his personal desire to raid on hold, to wait for me and Nolxero, why the other member of our fire team does not wait for us. Mr. Hambone, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, everybody? Just, I'm a kind-hearted individual, and that's why I do these things. It's about the team. It's about the team.
He's just a big teddy bear, bro. Just a big old fluffy teddy bear. And last, we have a very special guest with us today, guys. The founder of the Better Dads of Destiny's better half, the Dames of Destiny. Belle, what's going on?
I just want everybody to know that bunnies eat bears for breakfast.
Ooh.
Bunnies eat bears? Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
Brian, sounds like you got some work.
She came in swinging.
I don't think my name ends in bear, so I'm safe.
Well, you're just talking about. I was assuming that she's talking about the big cuddle bear that was just talking, but
No.
I think she's talking about
That's the
holier
poppy bear.
than thou
She's talking
bear.
about the poppy bear over there.
The holier than
you know what? I don't
That's
even
appropriate.
understand this. Like, I haven't done anything yet, and I'm already getting threatened by the bunny over here.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. Well, guys, Belle is actually joining us today for multiple reasons. One, to, of course, slap POPEBEAR around for us a bit. And secondly, because Dames of Destiny has joined with us for our breast cancer awareness campaign for the month of October. So make sure you guys are wearing your pink shader. And as my wife says, and I guess a lot of women say these days, real men wear their pink, right? So how about you, Belle? Do you make your husband wear pink every once in a while?
Yeah, he's currently playing, and he's wearing pink. He's complained about it, but he's wearing it.
Appropriate.
Well, it's actually
guy.
Pope's color. It looks good on Pope.
I can see that.
Yeah, it does.
It brings out my eyes.
So, well, Belle, tell us a little bit about maybe what breast cancer means to you guys over there at Dames of Destiny, and a little bit about what you guys have been doing this month as well to raise awareness.
Well, as a clan of all females, the concept of healthy boobies is kind of obviously really important to us.
Everybody loves healthy boobies. Yeah,
it's true. But
Sign me up.
that's not like number crunchy on you, but like it's kind of scary if you think about we currently have 85 females in our clan, and so like statistically 10 of us could have breast cancer. And yeah, like I figured that out today and it kind of terrified me. So, but we also, a lot of us have had family members that have fought or are fighting against breast cancer. So we kind of all wanted to join together and fight for a cure. And we kind of decided to take that literally. So like we've been streaming and asking for donations, and actually tomorrow, right after this, I'm starting our 24-hour charity stream on Twitch. And
awesome.
All the donations will get sent in at the end of the month in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So,
well, that is awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. I know POPEBEAR, he shared with us a few weeks ago that his family, his mom fought with breast cancer. My mom has fought with breast cancer, so it's a real deal. I think it's it's more real than most people know, and it's closer to the heart than most people realize. So I know it's a really cool month to look around and see. Obviously the National Football League and everybody else wearing pink. Every time you turn around, the MLB's wearing it right now in the playoffs, and here we are, playing a video game and we're wearing it to bring awareness. So it's a really cool thing, and I definitely appreciate you guys jumping on board. And obviously, it's more like us joining you guys, but in this fight. But we're glad to do what we can, and obviously bring awareness. And best of luck to you and raising the funds and the money that you guys are donating. That's an awesome cause.
Thank you.
Another great cause actually as well going on this month is the Extra Life campaign. It was started by the guys over at Sarcastic Gamer. For his niece, I believe it was. And long story short, helped raise money for kids that have life-threatening illnesses. And this month, I believe it's going to be on the 26th. We're going to do a 24-hour stream. There's going to be more consoles going to take a spot. We're going to have the guys over at Guardian Radio Network take a spot. Dado's taking a spot. And all these big names from the Destiny community are going to take a spot in this 24-hour turn, give things away, stream on Twitch, and help to raise money for these kids. And this money is actually going to, I believe it's the Seattle Children's Medical Hospital that Bife actually went and visited last time he was here in the U.S. And if you guys don't know who Bife is, he's from Guardian Radio Network, and he came over from Europe to visit Bungie early this year before the game came out, and he got a special tour around the hospital and really got to spend some time with those guys and see where it was. So he has a video up as well if you guys want to go check that out on youtube.com/mynameisbife. And it's really awesome. I mean, you can't help but open your wallet, I think, when you watch that video. But make sure you guys check the website this week. We're going to be having some of the prizes that we're going to give away. We're going to get those listed up there. And we're also going to have our time that we will be rolling during that 24-hour stream up there. So make sure you go over to dadsofdestiny.com and check out all the great stuff that we got over there. And Pope, I got to say, man, your team has done a phenomenal job with that website. And it is just looking better and better every time I see it.
Thank you. And I feel bad saying thank you because ultimately, I just got the ball rolling, and that's how great our community is. They picked up the mantle and just ran with it, and they did way more than I was expecting. So I appreciate that very much, and I think the community really, really enjoys it as well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely props to Baruco and
Deep Fried Dave.
Deep Fried Dave, man, you guys are
Neo
beasts.
And all those guys. They put in countless hours. It's just impressive. And
Absolutely.
version 2.0 is up, and it's even more more interactive, and it links up with all of our partners, and the database is up and running. It's just really great.
Well, I can comfortably say, hey, I'm going to put this up on the website, when we record this, because then I can go and just say, hey, and they drop it up there in seconds. So it's really awesome, and thank you guys so much for that. So go check out dadsofdestiny.net, guys, if you haven't had a chance. Well, let's gather our beverages of choice and get started with episode 7.
Bottles up, Guardians. Please drink responsibly. Silly kids, drinking is for adults only. Don't drink and ride your Sparrow. Drinking has been known to increase your aim. Individual crucible results may vary. If you have a buzz lasting longer than 4 hours, contact the speaker immediately. No lawyers were harmed in the making of this disclaimer.
All right, Pope. Well, since Bell just informed me that Extra Life's actually on the 25th and not the 26th, maybe I've already had a little too much to drink. So how about you tell me what you're drinking?
Well, tonight I decided to go with a classic. It's the Black and Tan, and it's in honor of our European fellows out there. KP just suggested that I go Guinness. So I popped up, open a bottle of Guinness and put in a little bit of Bass. It's a pale ale. And if you pour them slowly and you layer the heavy over the light, or the heavy first and then the light, and it makes a delicious beverage called a Black and Tan.
He is definitely Hambone trying to be British if he could be.
I think
sounds
like it, man.
I think he would
like
take the blood away from KP just to put it in his own body so he can drink and feel more manly.
Right, so he can feel like he's cultured and a man, you know?
I don't know what you guys are worried about. I mean, the British have a lot to offer.
They do have a lot to offer, but you would not fit in. Nolxero, what about you? What are you drinking for us today? You got that protein shake shaking over there?
Not yet, but I'm actually drinking a cup of almond milk.
Oh my goodness. Are you serious? Come on, man. Come
Yes,
on.
sir. I want to live, Brian.
Okay, this is the dude. This is the dude that I used to travel with to work. Okay, Brian, and every morning he'd be like, "Hey, let me get a chocolate milk, or let me get an amped energy drink." Okay,
Wow.
and
That's right.
This brother ate Taco Bell more than anybody I know, and now he's like,
Nice.
"I'm drinking almond milk." You and Pope have been hanging out too much, man. Becoming sophisticated and fit people, man. Forget that. Hey, Hambo, what you got over there, man?
Man, I got a strawberry lemonade. I'm just keeping it gangster over here. You know,
There
it
you
sounds
go.
like Zero is coming to California because almond milk and, you know, avocados and
Brian,
all these healthy
wait a
things
second.
exist
When
through
is drinking strawberry lemonade keeping it gangster? I
I don't know if you know this, Pope, but
It-
it's
I'm not
there's
gangster, but
two
I'm
things he
not-
could have said are gangster. That's either strawberry lemonade or Kool-Aid. All right.
Right. Hey.
Wait, I don't even understand this. Maybe Brian can explain to me how a strawberry lemonade is gangsta.
It is called the Suburban Gangsta. I'm drinking a strawberry lemonade.
It's a perfect
I'm
gangster.
leaned back in my chair, so it's gangster.
All right.
That's all it's gangster.
So does that qualify? Can you pour that one on the curb for your homies that have been lost?
All day.
Well,
Pour it out.
says the man that has the border around his room in his background. He's like, "Yes, I live
It's
in
like
the hood."
chips and stuff, you know, it's festive.
I wish
Yeah.
you could see. I wish you could see the image of Brian recording this podcast in his room. He's got this like baby blue wall with like
It's-
little,
It's like sea blue. It's dark blue. It's a manly blue.
and there's like some sequence, you know, up on the top ledge of the
There is no sequence. It's rhinestone. Move on.
All you need is your Ninja Turtle PJs, and then you're good to go.
I'm good.
You're about as
Superman.
gangster as Vanilla Ice, man.
He's with the Amish people right now. Be nice to him.
Gangster with your Ninja Turtle pajamas on and your strawberry lemonade, bro. In
That's
that blue
it.
room,
That's it.
that's where it's at.
Do it. Come see me.
I am drinking and I can never say this word right, but I know Pope's going to give me a hard time. But I'm keeping it real for us white American men over here with our beers. I'm keeping it real with the Lion Hugels Summer Shady. All right, so that's what I'm drinking tonight. So Pope, go ahead and make your
Can
laughs.
you elaborate on that a little bit? The what and the who?
It's it's Lion Hugels. Man, I cannot say this word. Okay, it's a crazy name. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. If you've ever had, it starts with the L and it ends with the S. Okay, let's just put it that way.
All right. That'll do.
He's drinking Summer Slim
Oh,
Summer
gotcha.
Slim Shady.
I
I'm
can't
keeping
help
it
you there,
real,
too
bro.
loud. I
I'm
can't
keeping it
help you
real.
there.
Gangsta.
Keeping it gangster.
That's my word for the day. Gangsta.
Well, Belle, you have anything special that you're drinking over there?
I'm going between a nice cold cup of 2% milk, so not quite as cool as almond milk, but getting there. And then I got some Gatorade and some coffee. Yeah.
That is quite the mixture over there.
Now, are you on a rotation, Belle? Or is that like, do you do milk, then, you know, Gatorade, then, you know, I mean, is this like a specific rotation, or you just, you know, go one and the other?
No, you had it. That's actually almost exactly my rotation. So
Mhm.
Oh, Please tell me you're wearing one of those construction hats that hold each drink and it all goes down into one straw.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
That's what I was envisioning too.
Well, have you always been a 2% milk drinker?
No, I think I grew up as a 2%. That's true.
I grew up as a 2% milk
Yeah.
drinker, and now I drink actually whole milk.
Mhm.
And for some reason, I cannot drink. I don't know what it is, but I cannot drink 2% anymore. It tastes like watered down milk to me. What about you, Pope? You what kind of milk drinker are you?
It just depends on. I have 3 different types of milk in my fridge.
Oh my goodness.
What? You asked the question.
Okay,
Can we
Hambo-
get the abridged version of this?
You asked the
Insert quarters.
question. I'm going to give you an
Oh,
answer. I like
man.
whole milk for my Earl Grey tea. I like half and half for my coffee, and I like 2% for my cereal. So there it is.
All right, Hambone, what about you? What percentage of milk? do you
1%.
drink?
That's all it is. Just
Really?
1%. Yeah, 1% milk, man. The 2 is a little too thick, I think. I don't like all that thickness. It's the thickness in the milk that just gets me. You know what I mean? So I'm a 1% kind of guy, man.
I don't even need to ask Food Nolxero over there. He's drinking almond milk, so I don't.
Right.
He doesn't have
I
in this
was a-
discussion. Don't even
I
talk
was a
of this.
former whole milk drinker, and
Whole milk,
just so
right.
everybody knows, I'm a 6'2". I was a 270-pound man. Okay, I've been trying to get that down. I'm at 245 now, so
Get
I'll
it?
keep drinking the almond milk.
Get that
Good job,
almond
man.
milk.
Good job.
All right, Belle, tell us a little bit about Dames of Destiny, how it got started, and a little bit about your gaming history as well.
Well, as far as Dames of Destiny goes, we're obviously an all-female clan. We're open to all ages, all consoles, and all gamer types. Basically, you just have to be a she and you can be in. Our mission is to provide a fun, safe, positive environment for female gamers, whether it be competitive, casual, or a bit of both. And we like to say that female gamers can find a sister in arms with the Dames. As far as myself, though, I'm kind of newer to the gaming world, I guess. I have to admit I started off with COD. No comments.
That's not a bad
But
That's not a bad thing, no.
Oh, not COD. Boo.
Mhm.
and then actually, when I met my husband, he introduced me to Halo, which I actually sadly used
Good
to
for
totally
him.
swear against.
Good for him. He was trying to set you right.
Yeah, I ended up kind of falling in love with it. And then my husband was also super obsessed with Destiny for a couple of years now. And I thought it's really irritating because he made me listen to like every single podcast or video out there, probably times like 5. And eventually I got into it when the game came out. And now I'm the one starting a clan and being on awesome podcasts like this one. And I think he might be a little jealous, but. But no, I guess as far as the reason I started Dames, like, it's just I know there's a lot of female gamers out there, but I think we kind of go unnoticed a lot of times. We kind of play by ourselves a lot, and we're not anti-guy, but I've realized there's a lot of issues between the sexes in the gaming world sometimes, and I've dealt with them, so I kind of wanted to just make a group for females to play with other females and not feel like they're going to have to deal with any extra issues. And we obviously interact and play with other guys like you guys, but
Right.
I don't know. I figured it was going to be like a small thing, just like a group of girls I already knew. And then Guardian Radio Network kind of picked us up and threw us out there. And we've been getting a lot more notice, and we're up to 85 members now. So that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that we shoot for, and that's just creating those friendships. And obviously, our rant cast last week, we went into a little bit of hate about being able to talk to people online and meet people, but that goes both ways, right? You don't get the sexism, inappropriate 13-year-old boy yelling at you, but at the same time, it's harder to meet people. So creating these groups and creating a place where people can come join together, that's obviously I think what the Destiny community is about the most. So speak of the rantcast last week, guys. I don't know if you saw some of the replies that we had. I want to jump on the forums over here real quick and go through a couple. We had a lot of great feedback, and for instance, I know that Obi-Wan 1953, he states here that he really enjoyed the rantcast. He hopes that somebody from Bungie is actually listening to it, and basically goes on to say that he was more interested in the PvE than the multiplayer, and he can understand the frustrations that we have in multiplayer, but he also has obviously the frustrations that we talked about in PvE. And he's really looking forward to maybe a more rich cinematic storytelling experience, hopefully in the DLC area. So, Obi-Wan, thanks so much for your comment, man. Thanks so much for the support, and we really, really, really appreciate it.
Another great message that was sent to us was from Monkey M666. He talks about how, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, if they don't fix it, that Destiny might be dead in the water. And I think that's a valid statement, because the community is built on millions of people playing, and with games like he continues on with games like Far Cry and Dragon Age and a bunch of new expansions to other games coming out, they may see their community dwindling if they don't bring enriched, engaging content back into the game.
Well, this is actually a really good point, and I heard an argument about it last week. Is all of us, and I don't know about you, Bell, but we already have paid for the expansion. But what about the people that haven't paid for the expansion? How likely are they to buy it?
I think a lot of people that haven't bought it are going to wait until they hear what other people think that already have purchased it. And if it's not really good, I don't think people are going to go out and buy it. They're not going to invest in it if it doesn't blow things out of the water.
Well, we also had another reply from, and obviously you can tell, guys, that our generation of people, meaning anybody probably in their mid-20s to their mid-30s, we are all Star Wars fans, because the next person is Jedi Kid. So we had Obi-Wan, now we have Jedi Kid, and he said I loved it. Always listen about 2 to 3 times a week. So he's like Jedi Kid's like our number one fan, okay? Because he listens to our podcast 2 to 3 times a week,
Nice.
and helps him fill the drive. So he believes, though, come to the start of a new year or a new week, he's ready every week for the new podcast. And he said, I like the rant. It definitely spoke for me and to me. So, Jedi Kid, thanks so much, man. And I don't know how you listen to my voice or Pope Bear or any of us for 2 to 3 times a week, but we definitely appreciate it. And you might want to go see a doctor, though, because you might be crazy. Cahill, our boy Cahill, even got on and gave us a little shout out. He said, "Great job, guys! Very entertaining, great discussion. Salute." And Cahill, all I can say is thanks so much, buddy. And we look forward to playing with you guys all the time. And Nightcrawler as well. All you guys on here. CDN Bacon 13, thanks, man, as well. Everybody that leaves a message, we really appreciate it. Neo, Echo Raider, you guys, thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for jumping on the forums and replying to us. We really appreciate it. We hear your feedback, and we can't thank you enough for the support and for listening. So, with that said, I know we destroyed and went on our rants last week, but I would like to ask you, Nolxero, tell me a little bit about what you love about Destiny.
Okay, so I had an email this week, and I'll save the portion of the appropriate portion of the podcast to read his email and kind of expand on it. But I did want to talk to y'all about what I replied to him, because this guy has a good gaming friend that he can't get into the game because of the complaints he's heard, the bad reviews. And so this is what I wrote to him. I think it kind of sums up how I feel about Destiny and the love I would give Destiny. I told him if I could speak to his friend directly, I would say while Destiny has its flaws, it is trumped by its potential and experience. Is Destiny what we thought it was? No. Can Destiny get there? Absolutely. Bungie is a good developer, and I believe they can fix what is wrong and nurture what is right. And then I went on to tell him after that, me and Troy have been good friends, or TwoLoudtx, and that, I would go as far as going in on the game with him. But like I said in the email to him, I think, there is a good experience here, especially with friends. I think that the potential of the game is incredible. And I think, like I said, I think Bungie's a good developer, and I think that they can fix the problems, and I think that they, will nurture what is right about the game.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's where Destiny shines, and groups like Bell's, like the Dames of Destiny, like ours, that's why they're so important to this game, and that's why they are so ideal when you jump on to be able to have people you can play with, is because that's really where this game shines. So, what about you, Bell? Tell us a little something that you absolutely love about Destiny.
Well, you kind of just took it, honestly. But yeah, I would say like the community aspect that's coming out of the game, if nothing else, the amount of community that has come out of this, just, you know, the fact that we're all pulling together to do Extra Life and the breast cancer stuff and just meeting people and how accepting it kind of seems to be. I know it sounds a little sappy, but it's true.
No, absolutely. Let your husband tell us, what does he love about the game?
That's your turn.
What does
I
he
actually
love?
have to talk.
Yeah. Tell us what you love about the game. We want to hear something that you love about the game.
I absolutely loved doing the vaulted glass. I've never done anything in a shooter like that. Even though I already got the loot for the week, I want to replay it as many times as I can before reset, because I just think that's a blast.
I remember the first time I went in it, and I think I speak for all of us because we did it together for the first time. Well, kind of, right, Hambone? We kind of did it together for the first time.
Some of us did it together for the first time.
We'll let you guys out there guess who didn't do it with us first. But the first time we went through it, I was just like, I was wondering, you know, they were saying all this stuff you got to do, and all we saw really was the platform jumping part, and I was like, man, is it going to be a lot of that? How are they going to mix it up? And I think we were all really shocked about how good it was. And, you know, I don't know if you've tried it on the hard difficulty, but it gets even crazier, and it's almost a whole different experience. Although you're running through the same raid, it changes it completely in how you have to play it. So, yeah, that's awesome. What about you, Pope? What do you love about Destiny over there?
Well, Bella, what's your husband's name or gamer tag?
Gamer tag's Hot Cup of Joe.
All right. So I already like the guy because, you know, if you listen to the last podcast, I was all about that coffee. So Hot Cup of Joe's got it dead center for me. But for a slightly different reason. I come from Call of Duty and Halo, and I play PvP nonstop, like for years and years and years. And I've never had an experience that the MMO guys have brought into a first-person shooter before. So for me, it's the opportunity to have a unique guns and have a story behind them, and to rank them up and to do stuff in a first-person shooter that I never had an experience before. So for me, what Destiny has gotten absolutely right is that first-person shooters were stagnant and they needed to change, and Bungie did that. And for that reason alone, I find the Destiny pulling me back in day after day, because I get this opportunity that I didn't used to have.
Absolutely. What about you, Hambone? What is something that you're loving about the game?
I know it might sound crazy, but I love the grind, man. I love just getting on, playing some PvP or doing whatever we're doing, looking for exotics or finding new legendaries, and just being online, you know what I mean? Doing the farming runs, getting all your materials. I enjoy all that stuff, especially.
I don't want to do it anymore.
That's fine. That's fine. Give me a couple guys. We'll go knock it out. We can pull down about 100 in a half hour, maybe 40 minutes.
Well, Belle, have you found any other runs, like the grinding runs where, like, you know, in 30 minutes or an hour you can get like 100 or, you know, 150 pieces?
Well, yeah, I mean, I go do my helium runs all the time. And I don't know, I guess it helps to go grab like bounties to get you through it too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I agree with Bella here. The grind part is kind of boring to me. I'm going to give Brian my welcome.
Hey, this was my section. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Well, but hey, but
I can't take away what you love.
But speak on this section, Nolxero. We even talked about this, though. At least the grind in this game tells you where it is. At least it's not a grind like a WoW. Dude, when you had to go farm for a material in WoW. I mean, that was a beating, dude.
Right, but I told you on the phone, you know, that's never been my thing in games. I've never liked grinding for bronze ingots and stuff like that in WoW, and I'm just, that's not my, like, I don't mind grinding levels. I don't mind grinding through any kind of experience type, you know, points, but as far as materials, every game I just hate it. And I played.
You know why you hate it? Because what you do is you make these goals for yourself, right? That you have to like get this weapon leveled up, and so you don't put yourself to bed until you do it. So that's why you hate the grind so much. Is because you're like, I have to do this grind because I have to get to the next level. And you know, if you're like Brian, you just don't have a job, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Well, no, that's the exact part that I do love. Like, as soon as I got the icebreaker, that was my mission. I didn't fire a single gun in that game for a week other than the icebreaker. I didn't care what we were doing. It was me and icebreaker, and we were going to get it up. And now it's at 300, and I enjoy, I guess, that aspect more of the grind. Thanks, man.
So, Hambone, what do you do for a living? I'm a farmer. Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Little do they know he's farming
Hey.
on a video game, right?
I'm
You know,
a glimmer farm.
if this was WoW, you would actually be able to make a living off of that.
I actually appreciate his commitment. You know, Brian has wanted that gun more than I can't tell you how many times the word icebreakers come out of this guy's mouth. So I appreciate his commitment to get that gun all the way up.
Thanks, man.
Well, what I love about the game is probably most of all, I really love playing PvP. I know you guys have said this a few times. You know, I get lucky because every time I get on, I don't play PvP by myself usually. In fact, I'll probably go grind with Brian if I get on and there's not very many people. But what I do love is playing PvP with a full team. I think this game really shines in that moment. I think it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
I think that, you know, we get crazy about it, you know, and even when games get intense, it's fun because that's the type of PvP player that I am and that I love is, you know, like the other day, I know me and Pope were playing with a full team, and what was happening is, you know, we were jacking around at the first of the game for like the first 2 minutes. We'd be, you know, down, you know, 100 points or so, and he's like, all right, let's set it up, and we set it up, and then the next thing you know, we beat him 20,000 to 7,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is a lot of fun to me. You know, it's obviously, you know, you guys hear me give Pope a hard time a lot on the podcast, but believe it or not, the reason why we are always playing together is because we both own everybody. So we have a really fun time getting on there and destroying people. And I just wish, Pope, I really wish, dude, that we could get one of these bounties of these so-called good people, you know, with the bounties on their heads, because
Yes,
we will tear them apart the first time we get a chance. So
I'm with you on that, man.
well, guys, let's jump over to what we actually got this week. There hasn't been a whole lot of news, and so I just want to jump through here. Speak of PvP, and actually walk down a little bit about the summary for the hot fix that we got. I believe it was on Monday, or maybe it was actually Tuesday. I think they put it in on Tuesday, but we got the notes the day before. Anyhow, long story short, some of this stuff doesn't really, I mean, to me, it doesn't matter, right? Like for instance, they fixed a bug where the Valkyrie 05X ship looked the same as the Aurora Lance. Did anybody know that?
No, that's a good
What was
fix.
that?
Exactly. Do any of you know the name of the ship you're flying?
No, I didn't know. Well, I guess I could have found
You
out. but I
mean
didn't really
there's
pay
different
attention.
kinds of ships?
Yeah, exactly. What?
They all kind of look the same with like a different color. So.
Well, maybe you can give a little more description on this, Pope. The Titan Unbreakable. Fix an issue where the perk granting more agility than intended.
There's a group of complaints that came through where they felt like certain supers were overpowered.
What was it, allowing people to jump in there quicker, like get in the room quicker and like ult or?
So in PvP, everything has to have a counter, right? And that's really what this was about, is that this didn't have a counter.
Except for the Blade Dancer, right?
Blade Dancer is impervious to bullets.
And then you got Warlock here. Brimstone perk can now activate if player is airborne. So I'm playing a Warlock now. I'm sure I'll see what that's all about.
That's the when they aim down sights with their gun, if you have that activated, they float in the air. But if they were killed while they were doing that, they couldn't use radiance to bring themselves back. But now they can. So if they were killed in the air, I guess it would bug out and not allow them to use radiance from the grave. So that's what that one is all about.
All right. Well, some of the weapon changes, which is the biggest part of this fix, right, is fix some issues related to quick weapon swapping. I haven't encountered that myself. I guess when people are swapping in PvP from, you know, their primary to a shotgun, maybe that was a little too fast for their liking.
I think they were fixing certain weapons had perks on it that basically made that faster. So I think they kind of leveled down how well those perks work.
Oh, okay. Auto rifles, base damage decreased by 2%, which you know, actually is a lot. You know, I mean, I know you look at it and you're like, oh, 2%, but in a battle where you're shooting 70 rounds, 2% is a lot. You got reduced precision damage multiplier from 1.5 to greater than or less than 1.25 headshot bonus damage, and then stability decreased by 4% to 17%.
I'm so mad about the stability part. It totally messes me up now.
What do you typically use an auto rifle?
Yeah, it was totally my gun of choice, and now I'm kind of switching out sometimes.
Every single auto rifle that I look at, if it doesn't have good stability, there's no reason to take it.
Now my Hawkmoon's really going to reign supreme over these auto rifles.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
the hand cannons are just increasingly getting better, which is why I'm so mad that you and Pope both have a Hawkmoon Nolxero.
Right.
So the hand cannon in air accuracy now increased. Well, thank you. Increase it even more.
That needed to happen, though, because
Yeah,
when you
that-
jumped and you tried to shoot a hand cannon,
Forget
I mean, I don't care how accurate you are, it was almost impossible to put it on somebody.
Yeah.
Then the scout rifles got base damage increased by 6%, which is awesome for me. And
Huge.
I mean, for I think me, Hambone, and I think all of us, right? We all like scout rifles. We just couldn't use them as much as we wanted because of the fact of how overpowered auto rifles were in PvP.
Yeah, I can use my multi-2 and Vision of Confluence again.
Right.
It now makes it practical for me to use a scout rifle.
Well, they also improved the target acquisition, if I could not be tongue-tied there. So they also improved the target acquisition plus additional recoil tuning for the scout rifle. So, recoil even better on them. So, I mean, all in all, they're just balancing the game out, and I think they're making weapons relevant that were completely irrelevant before. Shotguns, of course, this is the other big one here. Shotguns decrease damage at maximum range by 20%. So
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
Like I said, we saw 6 and 8%, right? We were just talking about like 6%, 2%. Now we're talking about 20%, dude. Okay, so
20%.
it decreased the range by 20%. Shot package perk.
Thank God.
Yeah, shot package perk has a slightly wider cone of fire. Thank God, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rangefinder and the shot package perks are now mutually exclusive. So
They're two of the, how in our auto rifle and scout rifle there's certain there's certain balancing things.
yeah,
that
that's
you
what
get
I'm
on it.
guessing. It's just that's what I'm guessing. But it's saying now they're mutually exclusive. So I don't know. I'm not sure what they mean by that. But all in all,
I'm not a big shotgun user, so I don't know either.
Yeah, all in all, I think what you can get from it is that they nerf the shotguns, right? So, and that's all I care about. This is the craziest thing, dude. The Vex Mytho class base damage decreased by 34%. Dude, they took a
It
third.
needed to happen.
They took a third of the damage away. A third.
So, yeah, I don't know where that leaves the gun, but I bet you it's still incredible.
No, well, in fact, I was watching later on in the week. I don't know if you guys read it, but there was a community focus on Streamer House, I think it is.
Yep.
And so I already watched those guys. Like when I'm at work, I'll throw it on my other monitor on my desk and just watch those guys play during the day. And sometimes I have the volume on, sometimes I don't. But I was watching him actually play. One of the guys play today. And, man, he was still using his Mytho class and not having a problem. I mean, he even said on there a few times, yeah, I mean, they toned it down. It's not as awesome as it was, but it's still good.
So here's where I read and I hear from people that are Mytho class owners, because I'm not one, is that it became balanced in PvP. So if you're a good PvP player, you're still going to get kills with it. It's just not going to be God mode, right? It's not going to take a horrible player and make them great. But where it really sucks is in PvE. It became a gun that you're not really going to go to in PvE.
Really? Yeah, I hadn't heard that. I know that obviously here they also increase the precision damage with multiplier for headshots or for precision kills. So that would make sense. They're obviously still perking it in PvP, but
Right, they're just making it a little more skillful than it was.
that is in there. And then Pocket Infinity, and fill me in here, Hambone, on this Pocket Infinity deal. Enhanced battery perk has now been replaced with the speed reload perk.
The charge rate with the enhanced battery has been taken away. So the whole essence of the gun and one of the things that really makes that gun special is now replaced with just the simple speed reload. And that's not the I guess that is sort of the issue because the magazine, I believe, is 3 or 4, something pretty small. But definitely if you were building your gun looking through the skill tree, the enhanced battery was definitely a perk you wanted to have on. So I'm not really sure why they removed that.
And that's a fusion rifle.
Oh, yeah. That's an exotic fusion rifle. And
it charged too quickly.
Yeah, it charged too quickly, and I guess if you couple that with the fact that you can shoot somebody in PvP across the map with that gun, it has incredible range. So I guess they wanted you to pick and choose. Either you have the range or you have the quick charge time, and they went with the range instead. So for everybody that has a pocket infinity, you can no longer just get those quick charges if you're in close quarters.
So you moved to Plan C, which is another fusion rifle that I have.
Oh, Plan C is all around, I believe, a better fusion rifle.
Wow.
I have Plan C.
It's very nice.
Plan C is the one that everybody should be looking to get. That thing is incredible.
Is it exotic or just legendary?
Yeah.
It's an exotic.
Exotic.
I love the fact that you are whatever primary you're running, and you run on your last bullet, it flips to your pocket infinity and it's pre-charged. I just think that is an amazing experience.
Plan C?
Plan C, I'm sorry.
Can you say it again? Because that's a good tip. I don't know if everybody knows that.
Well, when you've got Plan C in your secondary, one of the perks on it is if you're firing your gun, you're in combat, and you run out of bullets, your gun automatically switches to your Plan C, and the charge rate on that next charge is instantaneous. It goes.
Dude, I didn't even know that.
See?
So that's
knowledge is power.
That's
So,
where it gets. That's
What do you
where
mean
it
it
gets the
switches
name.
to your Plan C?
You get. That's why it's called Plan C. Like you're running out of bullets, you're done. Last round fired, it switches, and you've got
Like
your Plan
guardian
C
automatically
fired.
pulls out your secondary.
It's,
Yep,
right.
and
it
it
switches
goes
to what? It switches
the
to
plan. It switches to the fusion. Right. That's what I've read, and I'm not. I don't have one myself, so I haven't
I have to go
experienced
test
it.
it now.
But yeah, please test it for me. Comment on the
I
on the
believe you
video.
have to upgrade to the Plan C perk, but
Right.
that's exactly right.
Okay,
It's basically,
so-
Troy, if you're shooting your primary, so say your Atheon's epilogue, and you have a Plan C in your secondary, instead of you pressing the triangle button, the game automatically switches you to secondary,
Right.
and fire. You're ready to fire.
And then
that's what I was looking for, because I was trying to understand. You're firing your Plan C, and you run out of Plan C, and it switches to Plan C.
No,
and
you're,
that didn't
you're,
make sense.
Yeah,
no,
primary.
you're firing your primary, and it will automatically. And if I'm not mistaken, Zero, that first charge is extremely quick, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's instant, but it is very, very quick, as long as you've upgraded to Plan C.
That's awesome.
Well, this looks like Plan B so far for Bungie. They changed the perks as well. The metal detector fixed a bug that prevents this perk from actually providing additional ammo. And also lightweight, which fixed a bug that allowed additional agility to apply when a weapon was stowed.
Oh.
So wasn't there, is lightweight's not the one that allows you to slide further, right, if you have a shotgun equipped?
No, lightweight
No.
gives you +2 to your agility.
Okay. The activities, I guess there were some changes to activities. Strikes, in-game rewards from strikes now appear in the post-game activity summary. Well, I guess they're getting closer, right, to
What
showing.
needs to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I just want some gear, dude, to fall out of the boss. That's it.
Right.
I want to shoot the boss, and I want some gear to fall out. And I want to run up there, and I want to grab it. I don't even care if it's green at this point, dude.
That was literally the best feeling when you destroyed a boss in Borderlands, and all you saw was like, remember in when we had Grunt birthday party selected in Halo 3, and you would pop a headshot on a grunt, you would have and all the little confetti would zoom down. I mean, honestly, that's literally what it felt like on a big scale when you shot a boss for the last round in Borderlands. All of a sudden, all these colored, perks and drops would just come flying out of the guy, and you're like, yeah, it's a party.
Yeah.
I know.
I was pretty sure that the Grunt birthday party went, hooray!
Whatever it was,
thought
it was
y'all were
fun,
Bungie
right?
lovers.
Okay, it was fun. Either way.
So in my mind, it's the same sound that I make during another part of my life when you're
You sounded like Mario a minute ago.
All right. So,
Mario.
Mario.
So
It's me, Mario.
the raid, which everybody knows is Vault of Glass.
Oh, man.
Templar Encounter, right? This was something that
This is a
did
big
change
one.
for us.
Yeah.
And Belle, I would be interested to know if your husband, since he's not in our group, if his group was doing this the same way, but there was a platform that we would go stand
Oh,
on.
we did it. We did the day or when I ran with DPS, we did it that way.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, For me, I told these guys at a point, I was like, I don't think it's that cheap. I mean, I think it's probably not what they wanted to happen. I didn't think it was that cheap because all the work you still had to do to get to that point, right? And I was like, oh well. I mean,
but the boss wasn't challenging at that point. I mean, if you're cheesing it, we did. I'm not going to lie and say we didn't cheese it, but he loses the whole encounter.
Right, but the way we chose to do it, we also were missing out on the 5th chest because the 5th chest spawns based on you not letting the Templar teleport. So by us standing over there, the Templar would teleport, and that's why the 5th chest has never spawned for us when we go through the raid.
What?
But that doesn't matter because he'll teleport if you stay down in the game zone. It's
no.
our damage.
You have to go jump. You jump in the circle. There's a white circle that appears, and that's where he's going to teleport. And if you stand in that circle, he will not teleport.
The same thing you can do with
I didn't know that.
Him and knock him off the back. You never have to do anything.
Oh man! So Belle, you already knew about this?
Yeah, I did.
We're doing.
Man, we get showed up by some women, man. We are getting showed up by some women.
Yeah,
women and Hambone
which is another woman. So we're good. We're good.
Oh, sugar, don't say
I'm gonna take that as a compliment.
Yes, it is a compliment. He has very nice jaws.
You are in the mix with it. Hambone.
Wow,
this is going bad.
This is not good.
This is getting bad right now.
And then Destination, the Fallen have also retreated from their hold on the Rocket Yard to discuss a new takeover plan. So this is just in reference to, the other farm spot that they had. So
yeah,
have you guys seen what they did to the original one? Did you guys go check out their Easter egg?
Yeah, I think that's freaking hilarious.
What is it?
Fill us in.
Well, Bella, you tell it. I think it's funny.
Basically, if you go there's like a pile of remains, and you can click on them, and the remains kind of talk to you. And I don't remember. Do you remember exactly what it says?
Yeah, it's a like a dark sort of sadistic voice who says, and it's supposed to be the Cryptarch's voice, I guess. And he's like, and he says, 1,000,000 lives is not enough. So in reference to like all the people who farm there, it's just not enough deaths, for you, and it's really funny. You got to try it.
We'll find a new one. We always do. And I'm not going to share it on air.
I already have 2. So
I don't want to share it on air in case Bungie is actually listening because I like that. Yeah, we'll talk amongst ourselves.
Still doing loot caves.
Well, this one is more of a staircase.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's actually one that's pretty good to get some bounties done. Nolxero that Hambone showed us, I believe it was, and it's really really good for getting bounties done. Like especially the ones that are like, you have to kill so many people at one time with your super or whatnot. It's very 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 lucrative. So anyhow, I think people are always going to find loot caves no matter what you do, no matter how you block them. People are always going to find those in the store. So. Well, let's jump over to Don't Talk Back.
I wanted to be your dad. What does that even mean? Don't you talk back to me, young man.
All right, guys. So this week is a question I actually heard some guys talking about on one of the podcasts. I can't remember which one it was that I was listening to on my ride to work, but this came up, and it is a controversy thing about shooters and MMOs. And so my question to you is the merging of the shooter genre with the MMO genre the big hurdle that is giving Bungie such a challenge here? Perhaps the community is a bit different from their Halo community, and so a lot of the feeling and everything else that people were expecting, whether or not it was the precedent they set, which I think we can all say we thought that they were telling us it was more than it is, and different things were going to be a little bit different, but maybe we all just took it because of their history with the shooter. We thought there was going to be a more maybe shooter aspect to it, like Halo, and that since they were part of Activision, that they'd have some of the MMO things figured out, maybe with other teams they got feedback from. But really, what I don't know is that hurdle what's hurting them the most to get back to. So, Pope, why don't you start us off here?
I think it's one of their largest hurdles is trying to figure out all the complicated aspects that make each community happy, because they've married so many different communities that they're going to make some happy and make others angry, right? So I think that I think that's right. It's one of their biggest hurdles. But in a way, they need to recognize that some aspects need to be uniquely different and they need to be separate. That everything can't, you could bring your character from PvP to PvE, but there has to be a different way that character is treated when they're in the different worlds, and they can't be exactly the same, because those two worlds are totally different.
What about you, Belle? What do you have an opinion on that at all, as far as that genre jumping together? I mean, I know that you said you started playing shooters. Have you played any MMOs or dungeon crawlers at all?
I haven't, but I've dated plenty of guys that are obsessed with them, so.
That counts.
Does that count?
I guess for me, I could talk more from the standpoint of like, I feel like it's a hurdle for them purely because I think that's the part they focused the most on, was finding a way to merge those two things. And I think therefore the two separate things kind of suffered in the end. Like the MMO players expected, even though they try to stay away from calling it an MMO, everybody calls it that anyway. So I think there's people who came from WoW expecting it to be a certain way, and there's people who came from Halo expecting it to be a certain way. And those two sides aren't happy with the overall because they expected more of whatever they wanted from it. And I think that's why, in general, things like story and other stuff might have suffered, because they were so worried about merging those two things together.
I wish that they would have picked one thing they would have done like really, really well, right? Like I wish they would have picked like the shooter portion and said, look, we're going to try to mend in the MMO a little bit here, but we really want to nail the shooter portion and the multiplayer experience to a T, right? Or the other way around. Hey, we're going to throw in the shooter aspect, but we want to like take Borderlands idea and make a real MMO out of it. And I wish they would have gone one way or the other instead of sit in this middle ground where it's like, yeah, it's a good shooter, don't get me wrong, but it's not, there's a lot of stuff missing, especially in the PvP area. And then on the MMO side, I think it's a good MMO. It's got a world, but I think obviously the story's lacking, and I think the open world nature of what other MMOs are, I think it's missing that, whether it be broken up by the loading screens or the fact that we go to these huge planets, but it's only a small area of the planet that we're getting to see, but whatever it is, I think that for me, that's the hardest thing. And I think that's probably the challenge that they're dealing with. They've been dealing with this since development. So, Nolxero, what do you think about it?
Well, I'm going to sound like a broken record because I've said this over several podcasts, but if you take the patch that they just put out, that was definitely a PvP patch. I mean, It was all things considered for PvP. And the problem is, and Bungie's going to have to learn this lesson, no matter what anybody says, it's going to be learned, is PvP has to be treated differently than PvE. So things that you would nerf for a PvP perspective don't necessarily need to be nerfed in the PvE world, and vice versa. You find something that's broken in PvE, it doesn't necessarily mean it's broken in PvP. So they need to learn that they can incorporate some things to PvP and incorporate some things to PvE and have that separation. Excuse me. They can still have the game set up the way it is. You can still enter the Crucible the same way you do. Change nothing about the actual appearance of how you get into these modes and do these different things. But behind the scenes, numbers have to change. Grenades have to last, longer in PvE and less in PvP. They have to make the proper adjustments to make things balance, and that's where they're running into a problem. This patch proves that they're still. I mean, the Mytho class, they nerfed a third of its damage, and I don't know. I don't have one, so I don't know in the PvE world if that had to happen. But in PvP, it's a good fix.
All right, guys, we're going to jump over to Stories from the Tower.
And now it's time for Stories from the Tower. Stories that come from you, to us, and back to you. Be prepared to laugh at time, or 3, or 2.
All right, Hambone, tell us a little bit about some of the comedy you got for me this week, or maybe some of the great stories that you pulled off the forums and that were sent to you.
All right, we have some good ones this week. The first one I'm going to read is a familiar topic here on the podcast, and this is a dad-related question. This post comes from Hurricane G88, and it says, "What's your my kid just pooped in the tub protocol?" I was giving my 18-month-old twins a bath. The 6-week-old twins were downstairs getting fed when I noticed the water under the soapy bubble bath was looking a bit murky. Then a horrible turd surfaced like a miniature stink alligator, and I whipped my daughter out of the tub, ladies first, of course, brought her to the shower in her bedroom, and then went back for my son. I did this primarily because I suspected he was the offender, and better he bathe in his own poop water a little longer than my daughter. They looked a little shocked and weren't quite sure what to make of the shower and prison-style scrub down they got after, but I just wanted some input if anyone has any. My wife is bleaching the tub and all their bath toys as I type this. Thanks in advance. So, what do you guys think about that one?
Well, I don't really know if I have a protocol. It's typically like my wife's giving the boy a bath, and it's more like, "Honey, hurry, come here," or whatever. Like there's always the rush of initial, like, I think somebody's dying, but all it is a piece of poop in the bathtub, right? So I don't really have a protocol, and most of the time I don't even bleach it down, man. I just use some soap and wash it off, and go back to it, man.
Well, let me share some of these responses here. This guy, and his screen name is appropriate for the topic at hand. This first response is from Doo-Doo Brown, and he says, my protocol the first time this happened was to pull out my phone and start videoing the second she made the poop face for use later on in life, like maybe at her wedding. So apparently he took a little bit more of a blackmailish approach, but it's still funny nonetheless.
Oh, dude, it's all about blackmail at my house, bro. I'm going to get these kids.
Oh, yeah. Iron Zeus says, my kid pooped in a neighborhood pool. What is the protocol for that? My wife was mortified. They had to close down the pool. Lots of judgmental
Dude, you really got to drain the pool, right? They got to drain the whole pool.
Oh, my goodness, man. That would just be awful. Terrible.
I mean,
the protocol for that is find a new pool.
Right. Yeah. Find a new pool and never return to the old one. Mm-hmm. This next one is titled Funniest Weapon Descriptions, and it comes from What Danger. And he says that he was flipping through his app, looking at his weapons and reading some of the descriptions. And he just wanted to know what are some of the descriptions you guys have seen on some of the guns that you've got, maybe an exotic or a legendary. And there's some pretty funny ones in here. The first one comes from Chaser 825, and he says his rocket launcher says, "I foresee fire and screams. You would, mate. You're a rocket launcher." And I'm like, who thinks of these? Who's thinking of these really funny taglines for these weapons? The next one comes from Speed Demon 2581, and he says, "Durga, error cannot connect with target skull. Please locate target skull and establish contact." So, I'm like, there's some pretty good ones in here.
I know my comedian shotgun just says, "Ha, ha, 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 ha." So I don't know. I'd like that job, though. I don't know about you guys, but I'll take that job at Bungie anytime. You can write some descriptions for guns. So.
Yeah, one Nchuck 624 says his hand cannon says, "Pardon me, could I interrupt?" So, I'm like, all right. And I do see your the Bearded Prince also shared that his shotgun says, "Ha, ha, 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 ha." So, yeah, that's a good one.
All right, guys. So now this last one here, Hambone, that you're going to read. Let me jump in here real quick and just say, you might want to hit the fast forward 15-second button here if your kids are in the car. If not, sit back and have a good laugh with us.
All right.
But this one may need to be skipped over for the young ears.
For the young ears, potentially. This one is titled, "When Do Busy Dads Have Sex?" And it comes from Invited Cracker. He says, "Okay, so I'm just curious because I've never had my son full-time until now. It's been 3 weeks since my girlfriend and I have been able to spend some alone time together because my girlfriend doesn't like the idea. He is always here when I am. So when do busy dads have sex, and what could I tell my girlfriend to convince her that it's okay to do it when he's asleep?" Now, so let me just get your opinion on this one first before I read some of these.
Man, here's my deal. I got 2 little kids, right?
Uh-huh.
And all I can say is either you have a wife or a girlfriend that doesn't feel